Launching today a cheat sheet for policymakers on combating social justice rhetoric. The cheat sheet, like I said, is on the OregonScholars.org website. It is free and open to the public. No, it's in the public domain, which is where it needs to be. Like I say, it's been developed by Oregon Association of Scholars under me, Dr. Boghossian, and Dr. James Lindsay of New Discourses. The cheat sheet covers 12 concepts, which we have found to be widely circulating among social justice advocates, widely used as social justice rhetoric terms. And I think the reason for doing this is we noticed in working with policymakers in different states that social justice rhetoric and the sorts of terms that are covered in this cheat sheet, such as equity, diversity, inclusion, social justice, systemic racism, white privilege, cultural competence, decolonization, that these terms have been used in a kind of disarming fashion in recent years. And we've noticed policymakers who should be in a position to respond to and resist these kind of concepts, which we think are both erroneous as well as fundamentally at odds with our American constitutional foundations, often don't know what to say, right? They're kind of caught in the headlights. And the reason for that is these rhetorical terms, I think, are designed quite intentionally to not allow others to rebut them or debate them, because they are couched in this sort of who could be opposed to equity and social justice. So what we've done is taken these concepts, provided synonyms for them, which means what they really mean, and then identified some very quick bullet points on why those concepts are problematic, how they are either illogical or erroneous, or how they are used to advance policies that are at odds with a liberal society. And the purpose of that is then not just to sort of give policymakers an immediate understanding of what these terms mean, not allow them to kind of pass in the night unnoticed, but also I think just from a like clarity of public discourse perspective, this is a kind of anti-bullshit cheat sheet. Like, stop the bullshit of social justice rhetoric. If you mean equality of outcomes, then say equality of outcomes. Don't say equity, right? So we're trying to both kind of empower policymakers as well as kind of clarify public debate and make sure when policymakers and advocates use concepts, they use concepts that are clear and have a clear meaning. Dr. Boghossian, what would you like to add?
Thank you. I think that one of the things that you said that's so important is, if you mean equality of outcomes, say it. Say what you mean, and then people can more readily decide what kind of society they want to live in. But don't lie to people. Don't say something that's an obfuscation or untrue. So the purpose for this truly is to make the language more clear. And all of those words have a positive valence, like you said, equity, diversity, but they don't mean what people think they mean. And having immersed myself in this for nearly a decade now and read about it constantly, I am completely convinced that the reason that this ideology has taken over is because people do not understand the meanings of how the woke and the social justice advocates use these terms. So our goal is to make that clear. I also want to underscore something you said. It took us a while to develop this because we developed it with the feedback of lawmakers. And so while this will go to the Oregon legislature, the goal is to make this a national model for all policymakers everywhere. When they hear these words, this is how they should translate them. And it's a pretty straightforward document. And again, underscoring that, this is not there's nothing here that's permanent. We can add words to this, we can tweak or modify or adjust. And maybe, one of the terms that we added, for example, was ecological justice. And so if policymakers are hearing these terms, then the three of us with Dr. Lindsay, we're here to help, and we're here to make these terms more clear. So if someone is a policymaker and they would like to see a term, then please, by all means, let us know, and we're happy to incorporate that.
Yeah, good point. And I just I do have the chart up now on the screen share, and I know it's a bit small, but you can go find the full size one. But some of these terms are familiar to us in the sense of we've been hearing them for a decade or more. Diversity, equity. We've been hearing these for a while. We needed a very clear synonym for them. And we've done that. Some of these terms are newer, and I think what's interesting about this whole social justice rhetoric is it is a moving target. I think 2 years ago, even, you would never have heard about decolonization. You would never heard a university president say we need to decolonize the university, or a legislator saying we need to decolonize our legal system. So this is a newer one. Also, I'd say cultural competence is one that's been kind of sliding in as a kind of sounds like some form of training and education, and why would you be opposed to this? But it's also one that's kind of rather new. Probably wouldn't have heard it maybe 5 years ago, and it's also kind of one of these ones that's moving up. So I think we're also kind of be mindful of the fact that social justice rhetoric is a moving target. These new terms get birthed in the academy, they get sent out with the graduate students, and suddenly they become sort of standard rhetoric in policy meetings where people don't know what they mean, and therefore are sort of tongue-tied in responding to them.
That's right. And even cultural competence is the kind of essentializer, so that not all people who come from one culture have essential characteristics or qualities. And the other thing that I think is so important about this is that it's just a nice way, it just makes it easy. For example, when you hear a certain word, to make sense of it, translate it as this. Let me, if I may, let me tell you what I think the biggest mistake people make is. The biggest mistake in this whole thing is the translation of equity to equality. So when they say, oh, equity, of course we need more equal systems. We need more just systems. And if you look even in the dictionary, it's the word fair. But that's not, the words have a very specific meaning. To me, this has never, ever been a left issue or a right issue, although I will freely admit that these are words that have been used and terminology that's co-opted by the left. I think what you said is most accurate. This is about clarity. This is about precision. And if you want a kind of society that gears itself towards equality of outcome, great. I mean, we live in a democracy. You can put that before a vote. You can make the argument, you can marshal your best arguments and put it forward. And if that's what the people want, well, then we can have that conversation. But don't lie about it, right? And the cheat sheet makes it really easy to figure out what people mean. So it's our hope that people really do use this. That's our first hope. And our second hope is if we can improve that, we're open to feedback. So, or if it's missing something, we're also open to feedback. So again, it's a work in progress. And if you're a policymaker, please reach out to us. And we'd like to help you translate some of these terms so that you'll understand exactly what people mean, so that you can make the best decisions for your constituents.